Alright, now I'm by no means a professional welder. I'm not sure if these are the best practices, but for little repairs and different stuff, I mean, I can do some welding for something like this. I think I can handle it. This isn't going to be any kind of precision welding or anything crazy. I'm using flux cord wire on a MIG welder, so don't expect a whole lot. I'm just going to have the video rolling while I do this, and if I get in the way, I'm sorry, but we'll go from there. Alright, so I got it tacked into place. Take my clamps off. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna flip this up. Well, no, it should be good because I have that bolt holding it in. Take the clamps off. Now I'm gonna flip it up. And I'll do this back side real quick. There we go. Couple tacks in there. Now you can see this can move a little bit, which is alright. There's not a whole lot of side-to-side play in it, but a little bit like that I think will be alright. I think that's what I want. That means I at least have room to get this tooth in and out of here easily. My bolt, however, is in there tight, so we might have to use some tooling to get that off. I'm gonna flip this onto this side. And get the last couple tacks in there, and then I'll weld it all the way. Alright, so I got it all tacked into place. I'm going to try to get this bolt out, and then I'm going to try to clean up some of that mess from the welds, and then I'll weld it solid. Alright, now I'm going to weld it up solid. Probably not the best looking welds in the world, but I think they'll do for what I need at least. And it always looks better when it's painted. At this point, I'm just gonna get the other ones on and weld them up just like this. Here is the, well, kind of finished piece. We have all the angles welded on. I can get a pin through all of them. Everything seems pretty good. The welds, for the most part, look all right. They're not the greatest, but I'm not going for a professional welder here. I'm just trying to get this metal to stick. So I think I'm going to call it a night for now. Hopefully I can be back at it tomorrow. by then we should be pretty well ready to get it painted. All I have to do yet is weld up the sleeve hitch mount, and then I'm gonna put that big 3/8 inch piece across there, along with another 1/4 inch piece that would act as a weight bracket should I need to add extra weight once it's on the ground. If you didn't watch my video about how much the sleeve hitch on this thing can lift, I don't know that I'm gonna ever run it without it on the ground with weights. I think this is gonna be plenty heavy enough for that hitch as it is. I don't wanna overdo it and end up damaging anything. As I said in that video, the tractor isn't the issue there. It's more so the sleeve hitch and its weight. This so far seems pretty hefty. I think the shipping weight on all this metal was around 33 or so pounds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but moving it around, it seems like quite a bit. So I'll be interested to get it all together and try it on the tractor without filling it with the concrete like I had planned on. I know that should add a good deal of extra weight, you know, filling that whole tube with concrete. But yeah, we'll see if it needs that before I actually cut some end caps and weld end caps onto this. So that'll be something I'll wait till I get about everything ready to go. And then I'll test it out on there, see how it does, and then I'll make that determination. All right, it's a new day. So this is actually, I think, day 3 now of this build. 3 days, not too bad. I haven't actually been working like all day by any means on this. I've really only been working just a few hours. Really drilling the holes was probably the longest thing. The fact that all the pieces were pre-cut, I don't really need to worry about trying to cut all this angle iron. And then welding, it spent me some time to get the first one done. Then once I kind of got into the groove, I did the rest. The welds, again, aren't the greatest looking out there, but they'll get the job done, I'm sure. Next step is gonna be we're gonna take this piece of 3/8 flat steel, and it's going to get welded onto here, and this will act as a weight bracket, also just some extra weight, and then also just to close off the back end of this. And you know, give it some extra strength. What I need to do though is cut it down. I don't really need any of this extra hanging off the ends, so I'm just gonna move it over to one side. I'll take a marker, I'll mark there, and then just cut that chunk off, and then I'll grind the edges all down, clean the edges up on the angle, and then we'll get this welded on to the angle. Additionally, I'm going to take this piece of steel I had left over that you might recognize from my How Much Will It Lift video. I'm going to cut a couple chunks of this off and make end caps for on that tubing, should I decide that I want to add more weight inside of it through means of that concrete. So yeah, I'm going to grab a marker, get this marked up, and then we'll get to cutting it. Okay, so I got my mark here. I have this diamond dusted bit on, or I guess wheel on my grinder. I'm going to use that to cut this. I'm not going to try to hand hacksaw through this, and I don't have any kind of power hacksaw or metal chop saw or anything, so this is going to have to do. It's probably going to take a minute, and it's going to be loud, but I think we'll get through it. So I'm gonna put my mask on, gloves, some hearing protection, and get to it. If you've never used one of these diamond dusted discs, that worked way better than I thought it was gonna. I don't know that the times I've used it before it ever actually went that well cutting. I feel like usually it was a lot harder, but that seemed to work really well. So yeah, those diamond dusted cut wheels, those things are awesome. So now I'm gonna go back over to the belt grinder, I'll clean up that edge, grind the other edges. One thing I need to do also is a little bit of cleaning where it's gonna mate up to the pieces of angle iron. So I put little marks on the edge of this just so I know where I need to go. You can see I got some black marks here, so in those areas I'm just gonna have to clean that up. So we'll get back to belt grinding. I actually cut my little pieces for the end caps, should I choose to go that route, which I kind of hope I do, but we'll see. So now we're at the belt grinder. I'm gonna get these things ground down to shape. All right, so I got my end caps ground down. I'm not gonna worry about cleaning them up until I actually go to do that. But then I got the weight bracket piece cleaned up and then ground down for welding. So yeah, I'm gonna guess I gotta clean up the angle irons before I can weld that on. So I'm gonna hit that up now. Everything is cleaned up, ready to go. I just gotta get this bar in place, clamp down, and then we'll get it welded on. So let's do it. All right, we're getting there. So I got the weight bracket piece on, solid. I already cleaned up and marked my lines for the actual sleeve hitch mount here, and I have that cleaned up. I did that off camera. It's nothing super interesting or really noteworthy to see. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing on here. I'm actually gonna just wipe this down real quick just to get dust off of it. I'm not gonna worry about using any kind of solvent because I just did these. Just so there's no dust on there. We'll call it good. So I'm going to line it up on my lines. And then I'm going to throw the clamp on here lightly, and then I'll put on the I'll put the square over it to make sure it's on there at a somewhat straight angle. Alright, so we got that loosely in place. Get the square. And check this to make sure it's on there straight. And it actually looks like it's pretty good. So we'll just try to center it as best I can. That looks good, we'll weld it. That looks better. Again, not professional, but it'll do. I'm actually going to flip this around to do the other side, so I don't move that clamp. Risk that end popping up. Pass. Not beautiful, but I think it'll do. And I'm actually just out of wire, so I got to get that changed. Got a new spool of wire on. Luckily I bought two the last time I needed wire, so I'd have some for the next time I ran out, which happened to be now, so I guess I'll have to get some more welding wire. Alright, keep welding this. Dang, probably the best looking weld I've done on this whole thing is actually on the bottom. Well, I guess it could be run either way really, but I think I just kind of decided this was going to be the bottom. Who knows, maybe now I'll have to make it the top. Unless the top ends up being really good too. Well, that one actually turned out well too. Sweet. Alright, at this point, really the only last piece I kind of had in mind was throwing this piece of 1/4 inch across here, just to kind of help keep it so that the weights, if I have weights on there, and it will hold them outward. If you saw in the video I did about how much the tractor will lift, in that one, the weights, you could definitely tell on the thin piece of metal, they sagged down on the back end away from where they were mounted. So I think with 3/8 metal and then some 1/4 inch metal, I think this will do a pretty good job of keeping them away, because realistically those weights are going to be pretty close to the ground when this implement is actually lowered. So I'll have to weld that on. Probably not going to do anything crazy. I'll probably just tack the ends. It only really needs to just be held in place. And there we have it. I think we're going to get a weight on this thing and, well, not get a weight on it, check the weight on this thing, and then see where we're at, see if I want to venture into adding any concrete. Alright, so get this thing put together and maybe put it on the tractor. I almost forgot to let you watch me paint this. I decided I'm not going to do any extra weight inside of it. It seemed like it lifted it fine without being too much for the tractor to handle, or for the hitch to handle, I should say. But I cleaned it all up, wiped it down, got the scale off this piece. There was a lot of scale because that was a hot rolled piece. But yeah, other than that, I'm just gonna hit it with some primer right now. We'll let that cure. I'll flip it over, hit anything I couldn't get right now, and then we'll get on to painting it John Deere green. All right, and that should do it for coat number 1 of the primer. Obviously, primers aren't supposed to lay down super thick, just a light dusting really, so I'm not going to do more than 1 coat on this. I'm going to let this dry up, and then a little bit later on, I'll come back and I'll flip it over, do the other side, and hit any other spots that I can get from this angle. One thing I do want to mention, I screwed up. So I went to test this out, and I went to try out putting the quick attach weights on there, and it ended up they did not fit. I was wondering why. I was looking at a schematic of the weights themselves before, I actually got them, and was looking into getting all this material. And then I found that originally my plans was for this back piece to be a 1/4 inch. And then plus that 1/4 inch, 12-inch section there, making it a 1/2 inch overall, and it would have fit. I ended up at the last minute, decided to spend a little extra, get a little extra weight with it, move it up to a 3/4 piece, so it's that much stronger. Or sorry, not 3/4, 3/8. And then the 3/8 with that 1/4 inch piece, it ended up being too thick. So kind of sucks. I wish I would have realized that sooner. I wouldn't even have welded that piece on there then if I would have realized, but at the very least, there is still room. I can hang them on either end if I want, should I need the extra weight. 2 of those weights is more than what this tool altogether with the teeth on it weighs. So I mean, there's, you know, the possibility for quite a bit of weight there if I really needed it. I don't think filling it with concrete would be necessary. So yeah, I'm gonna let this dry, and we'll keep it moving. Got it flipped over. I'm gonna do the second side, round 2. That should do it for my primer. We'll let this set up about 45 minutes or so, and then we'll start doing the green. All right, the primer's all set up. It's gone about 45-50 minutes or so, ready for some top coat. I have here actual John Deere Ag and Turf Green. It's pretty good paint, leaves a nice finish. Let's get this thing green. All right, there's coat 1. Looks pretty good so far. I'll probably do another coat with it setting like this. Then I'll flip it over and do my other coats. Looks pretty good for now. Maybe a little bit of a run right there, but I think it'll be all right. This is the bottom side anyway, so we'll let this dry and then get back to it. And on to green paint, round 2. All right, and I think I'll leave it there for the day. I'll let this cure up good, and then I think tomorrow I'll hit the other side. I don't want to risk flipping this over tonight at all and having any of the paint get stuck to the wood blocks or anything. So I think I'll just leave it sit, let it cure, and hit it with 2 coats of the green tomorrow. So yeah, so far so good, looking good. I love green, it's my favorite color. Looks great. We'll get back to it tomorrow. About to get this thing finished up. I got it flipped over. The paint on the other side was looking pretty good. I'm gonna get this side painted and give it till tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have some decals I can put on this, vinyl stickers, just to kind of make it look a little more like an actual product rather than a, home-built DIY project. Which, I mean, it's still cool, but hopefully we'll get some stickers on there. Maybe get a little yellow in the mix. So yeah, let's get to it. All right, there is coat 1 of side number 2. We'll let that set up, and then I think we'll get the final coat on this thing. It's tacked up. Time for top side, round 2. All right, that's gonna conclude our paint job. I'm gonna let this cure for another day. I might go 2 days, we'll see, depending. I wanna make sure this is good and dry before I do anything. I think I'm probably gonna have to run that 3/4 bit through the holes again, because I know, they fit pretty tight to begin with. It was a pretty close tolerance, so I'm sure having paint on there now, I'm gonna have to re-drill those in order to get the pins through, which isn't too big a deal. The outside ones are easy, the inside one is a little hard. I almost have to get the bit in there, and then after the bit's in there, put the drill in, slide it back into the drill, and then tighten the drill. And it was kind of a challenge, but I was able to do it one time already when I was first trying to fit the teeth in there. But and then I may or may not have to drill out holes for where the pin goes that holds it to the sleeve hitch. So we'll just have to see in due time. So I'm gonna call it at that for now. We'll let this thing cure up, and then we'll be back with a pretty much finished product. On the home stretch now. So I got the paint all done on this thing. It looks pretty good for the most part. Really, the only issues I had was where I flipped it and had it resting on the wood there. I actually put some wax paper on top of a couple extra blocks of wood to try to keep anything from sticking if the paint was still soft from the first couple coats. It worked, nothing stuck. However, it did leave a slightly different finish to the paint. And then some paint from when I did the second 2 layers, a little bit of spray kind of got under there. So there's a little bit of difference on that inside edge there that you may or may not be able to really see. I'm not going to bother trying to do anything to it. This thing looks phenomenal in my opinion, how it is for the amount of time that it took me to do. I mean, overall it was pretty simple, so I think so far it turned out pretty good. But I do have 2 more small additions to it to really kind of complete the package, and that is some decals for it. So I got a couple here that I made up. One of them is going to be a model number, similar to how John Deere equipment is. So, X580, D105, the 8Y cart, different stuff like that, and then so on and so forth for the bigger tractors and different stuff out there. So I thought it'd be cool to have one for this tool. Of course, this isn't an actual John Deere tool. I'm not going to put an actual John Deere sticker on it, whether it be one I made or an actual factory Deere one. I don't want to run into any copyright issues. But in good fun, I did make a model number. I'm going to dub it SR330. So this whole time I've been calling this a Scarifier, a Ripper, whatever. I decided to call it both. So the SR is going to stand for Scarifier-Ripper, and then 330, I was trying to figure out what number I could use. I figured 330 would be fitting, being it's a 3 shank, and it is a 30-inch wide bar. So I figured it'd be just a cool little touch to have on it. The second one is what I'm going to name this thing, and I am going to call it John the Ripper. There again, I've been calling it a Scarifier-Ripper, whatever. And I know there's another video on YouTube where someone's using a heavy hitch ripper, and it's called Jack the Ripper, similar to the old medieval or whatever criminal. But I figured John the Ripper, it's a John Deere, that'd be kind of funny. So I figured I'll put that on there. So I'm gonna get these things stuck on. I'm actually gonna put these decals on the sleeve hitch side of the bar. I don't want to put it on the other side due to the fact that that is kind of designed to put some weights on there. It's supposed to be a weight bracket. So if I'm putting weights on there, I don't want to damage the stickers. So I'm going to put them on this, the sleeve hitch, the actual hitch side of it. Of course, this was just painted. I'm not really going to do any kind of heavy cleaning on it. I'm just going to wipe it off with a clean rag just to make sure that there's no dust on there. Getting under that vinyl adhesive. So just gonna dry them off. Well, not dry them off, but wipe them off. So first one, I'll do the John the Ripper sticker. This font is, from what I can find on Google, the closest thing you can get to John Deere's font. It's called Trade Gothic, I think LT Extended. It's pretty similar, but there again, I mean, John Deere, a company like that, they're going to design their own font. So from what I can tell, they have like a modified version of this font. But I was able to get this font and put it into a program and was able to trace the font out, and then cut a sticker out of it. So pretty similar to the John Deere logo font, but a little bit different. So I'm just gonna try to center this as best I can, line it up as straight as I can. And try to put it down so that all the air gets out from under the letters. This vinyl is not like what you would typically find for vinyl decals that you would put on your vehicle. Usually those are much thicker. This is actually a bit thinner, and it does show a lot more, but it'll work. So this is just, I thought, a cool touch. If you have like a Cricut machine or something, I know I have a couple friends that have Cricut machines, and you can do this kind of stuff with those. It's pretty neat. But like I said, just a fun little addition. I don't think I got it 100% straight, but I guess it'll be all right. Try to make sure that's adhered as best as it'll be. And then peel off the transfer paper. That's fairly straight. Not too bad. A little off, but it looks good. And then we'll do the SR30 model number. There again, this is just something I figured I'd throw on here just to give it a little more character. My letter's not wanting to come off. There we go. And we'll put our SR30 over here. Make sure that gets stuck down good. And peel up the paper. And there we have it. Looks pretty good, I think. Looks pretty straight. I think I'm happy with that. Let's go hang it on the tractor. And here is my favorite part of any project, getting to see the finished product all put together. It's kind of like Christmas morning. What I already did, one thing I didn't show it. I just ran the drill bit through the pinholes again, just to make sure there's no buildup of paint in there that's going to inhibit getting those 3/4 inch pins through the Scarifier teeth. So I already did that. I already checked this pin to make sure it's going to go through there. I didn't have to rerun the drill through there, so that's good. Prior to any paint or anything, I actually did throw this on here just to see how it would line up, what it would look like, kind of. And I found that it's probably going to be best to try to do this without the teeth on first and then put the teeth on after. The weight and balance of it is just kind of weird and kind of awkward to get on here. So this is my first time putting it on now after having it painted. So just bear with me if this takes me a minute to get on there. It's a little awkward. I haven't used any of the other sleeve hitch implements yet, so I'm not sure how awkward they may be, but I'm gonna try to get this thing on there. All right, so that was much easier than trying to do it with the teeth on. So there's the bar itself on the tractor. Let me get the teeth on there. And there we have it. We can tighten these stabilizer bolts at the back, get this straight. It looks like it's sitting on there pretty straight, pretty level. So we can snug them down so that they're contacting the back of this that smaller black plate in there. But looks pretty good right now. So yeah, there it is. Looks pretty good, I think. Using the John Deere paint really makes it pop, match the tractor. I've had suggestions to maybe paint the teeth yellow, but I don't think I'm going to do that just because it's going to get ripped up anyway, so why waste the paint? But yeah, I'm extremely happy with how this turned out. It looks great. I just really hope that it performs as great as it looks. So stay tuned. And in a little while, still waiting on snow to melt, but in a little while here, we'll be testing it out, trying to dig up the driveway a little. So hopefully you enjoyed watching this thing being built. Hopefully you like the finishing product. Maybe it gives you an idea on how to make one of these, or you know, attempt to make one. However, I know there's a couple out there I've seen. They didn't really go quite into this amount of work and making it look like this, but there are people out there that have done stuff like this, and there was one in particular that I saw work and I was like, boy, they made that one work. I'm pretty sure I can make one of these things work. So I think I made it a little better. Yeah, we'll just have to see how it does. So appreciate you watching. Have a good one.